Hey, welcome to in this series on sentence diagramming. We're looking at verb phrases, just pieces of a sentence, not the whole complete sentence. Now we're looking at verbs and verb phrases. All of these sentences have the same verb, watch. We have different forms of the verb watch, and we have very similar objects for this verb. We watch television, or was watching a TV show, want to watch some shows, okay? So if my verb has an object, well, the object will be a noun. So I've got some nouns. That means I've got some noun phrases. So let's start inside the verb phrase first and identify our nouns and identify our noun phrases. Stop the video, label all of the words here and identify your nouns and noun phrases. Okay, so here are nouns: television, TV show. TV and show are both nouns. If you label it as one thing, TV show, if you label that as one noun in and of itself, that's fine. Won't argue with you there. Although there can be other shows, a live show, or something else, right? Stage show, magic show, okay? But we've got two nouns there, and a determiner or article, and then in the last example, we've got the plural noun shows with a quantifier, some. Quantifiers tell me quantity, how many shows. Some shows, a lot of shows, many shows, few shows, several shows, right? Quantifiers, or there are also determiners. So if you labeled this as a determiner, okay, that's fine as well. Now let's put them into noun phrases and label the type of verbs we have. Go ahead and pause the video, see what you can do before I continue. Okay, so now we've got our nouns into noun phrases. The first example, television, is a noun all by itself. So he'll make a noun phrase all alone. In the next one, we've got two nouns and a determiner. So all three of those will go together into our noun phrase. And the last one, that quantifier or determiner, goes with the noun for a noun phrase. And then we've got all of our verbs. Most verbs will just label V as a verb. There's a few exceptions, right? A couple of exceptions. So watched is a verb. We don't care that it's in past tense, right? It's a verb. In the second one, was is also a verb. And again, we don't care if it's in past tense or not. Watching, though, we care about because those ing verbs work a little differently. And in this case, right, after that verb was, I would only be able to replace that verb watching with another ing verb, right? In the first example, that past tense verb watch television, I could replace it with any other verb that makes sense, right? Bought, to buy, to watch television. Oh, I don't know, what else do we watch with television? I have no idea. I hate television. I like television, okay? But in the last one, watching must be replaced with another ing verb. So we have to label it to indicate that. And ing verbs are called present participles, so we label it as a present participle. If you have a brain fart during a test and you forget that it's called a present participle, you could label it as an ing verb, and I'm fine. Okay, as long as we don't label it simply with a V. And in the last one, you've got the infinitive, to watch. So want is a verb. Want is followed by the infinitive marker, to. And what comes after that infinitive marker? It must be the base form of a verb. We can't say to watched, to watches, to watching, right? It has to be the base form of a verb. So again, we indicate that by labeling it verb base. It's not an infinitive verb. The infinitive verb is the whole thing, to watch, right? Watch by itself is a base verb. Okay, now let's try to get these verb phrases. We've got our noun phrases. We've got our verbs labeled. Let's see if we can start grouping them into verb phrases. Pause the video and try it. Okay, so the first one's very easy. We just had a verb, and then the object of the verb was a noun phrase. So bam, verb, noun phrase, a verb phrase. The second two, a little more, there's like a little extra step, right? If I have a present participle verb, I need a present participle verb phrase. So that's what you see there. And if I have an infinitive marker, I know I have an infinitive verb phrase. So that's what you see there. Now I can bring in my main verb, the verb was, and the verb want. Let's do it. And there you go. We have our final form for our final verb phrase. Okay, let's look at one other interesting variation of a verb phrase. Okay, so for this example, we have the word should both times. So before I go any further, go ahead and label each individual word with the word class. Okay, and I hope that's what you got. Should, you should recognize as a modal. You could label it modal or M-O-D if you want to abbreviate. And of course, watch is a verb, television is a noun. And in that second example, we see the word not. Not is the negative marker. It's the only word in that word class. Okay. The word never is an adverb, not the negative marker. The words nothing, nobody, nothing, nobody, no one. The word no itself. No is not the negative marker. Not is the negative marker. So when we see the word not, we label it negative marker. Don't label anything else negative marker, please, because those words are doing something else. They're in a different word class. Okay. So now, how will we put this together? Okay. Nouns. Aha, nouns. I need a noun phrase. So they'll go into a noun phrase by themselves. But if I had good television, bad television, if I had an adjective in there, right? The television, a determiner there. Television shows, some television shows. You know, if I threw in a quantifier, doesn't matter. It would still all be a noun phrase there. Here we just have a noun phrase made up of one noun. Okay. And now what do we do with this? We have verbs. Watch, right? We need a verb phrase. So where does that come in? Okay, and that's what we should look like right here, right? We have the verb and the object of the verb, the noun phrase. So they all go together into a verb phrase. And then we've got that modal hanging out in front of the verb phrase. So let's put that in there and draw that out. And we see our final form. The first one's a little easier to see. We have the modal connecting with the verb phrase. That gives us a modal phrase, right? The second one, the negative marker is negating the modal. So you can have the modal and negative marker together with the verb. Oh, nope, that's a mistake. Hold on. There we go. Don't know how that happened, but the modal negative marker and the verb phrase all coming together, right, to make a modal phrase. Now, if you drew the line for the negative marker into the verb phrase, I'm not going to deduct any points, right? Linguists have good arguments on either side to argue that that not is it negating the should. Well, it seems like there's a lot of good reasons to believe it's negating the should, or is it negating the watching television? Is it you should not watch television, or you should not watch television? Where does that line break? Since we can contract the should and not when we're speaking, you shouldn't watch television, I tend to believe that the should and not kind of really go together as one. So I'm going to put the negative marker not right into the modal phrase, just like this. Okay, but there is a gray line sometimes with these diagrams where I won't be too picky when I'm grading. But that's what that looks like for modal phrases. Okay, video number 3. Let's look at adjectives and then we'll look at adverbs.